Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today I am back at it again with another Pokemon art video. So today I am drawing the dragon type TYRANITAR. Now I actually decided to do this in a similar style which I have done in the past, where it's sort of like more dark and slightly epic kind of feeling. I really like doing these sort of cool illustrations as well as my cute ones as well. However, I just felt like for TYRANITAR I had to really up the ante and sort of push that epicness, if that makes sense. So as you can see, I am starting off with inking in this video. I did sketch this artwork quite a while ago actually. It was probably a few months ago, and then I kind of sat on it for a little bit and did other things which got me distracted. However, I was looking back through some of my sketches and I found this one, and I just really wanted to complete this artwork because the sketch was pretty good, and I remember trying to get a sort of like sense of scale in this artwork, especially since, as you can see, it's sort of like looking up towards TYRANITAR, and he's got his mouth open with his big teeth and his claws, and like he just looks really huge, and I really wanted to finish that because it felt a little bit cool. So as always, I started off inking this with my Copic multiliners, using my light box to transfer the sketch over to a fresh new piece of paper. Now I'm using my Copic multiliners, I believe a 0.3 and a 0.1. I actually use that a little bit later, and basically I just sort of get a nice even sort of base of the line art first, and then I go over around the outside and around parts which I want to make more emphasized, and I use a thicker outline to make it sort of more bold, and that sort of brings it in together and sort of makes it look more polished and complete. After I get all of that done, I actually go back in with a 0.1 multiliner, which is one of my smallest ones, and I don't usually do this often. However, for this illustration I felt it necessary and it would improve it quite a bit. I actually used a bit of hatching. Now with hatching, you basically draw lots of thin small lines going in the same direction, and that sort of adds just a little bit more shading and that kind of thing, but within the line art. Now I felt like doing this with this illustration because I just wanted to add a bit more detail and just make it feel a little bit more gruesome and sort of dramatic, I guess. And yeah, I'm actually really glad I did that because I think it paid off pretty well. Now to colour this illustration, I'm using my favourite medium, Copic Markers. Now I'm actually starting off with a yellow-green colour, and then I sort of do a whole base over TYRANITAR with this marker. And then after that I go over with some shadows for the green parts, and I basically use a mix of greyish olive, bush, and also pea green. Lovely name. Now with this base color, I'm not really concentrating on getting a smooth sort of coat because I am going to go over this with different colors and stuff like that. But also I kind of really like the look of a sort of slightly patchy look. I felt like it would add a little bit of detail and interest, especially to this gigantic, you know, lizard thing that's destroying the city. I thought, you know, a little bit of patchiness on his skin would actually be a bit interesting. After I got the base down for his colors, I actually went over with a cadmium yellow marker, and I basically just added this yellow, this bright yellow, to the parts where there would be highlights in this illustration. Because later I actually plan on adding a sort of smoky, fiery sort of background, so I needed a bit of a bright yellow highlight because the light source on him is going to be pretty much fire. So yeah. After that, I pretty much go in with the colors for his tummy and his tongue and inside his mouth. Now I'm using a nice dark sort of deep reddish blue for his tummy, and I make sure to add a little bit of a highlight on there as well. After that, I finally mask off this illustration with a lot of masking tape and a bit of paper, and I go in with my Copic Airbrush system. Now, if you've been watching my videos lately, you have noticed that I have been using a Copic Airbrush system, and I love this thing so much. In the past, if I wanted to sort of get like a smooth, airy kind of background, it used to take me hours. I used to have to blend constantly with different colors, multiple colors, and it was a little bit time consuming. I have done it in the past pretty well. However, this airbrush system just makes it so easy. I basically just sort of went in with some very dark grays and blacks, and then I sort of add a sort of base to it, so a lot of dark colors, but leave some parts sort of gray and slightly white. And then after that, I go in with some reds, some yellows, some oranges, and that kind of thing, and I just have fun and just go over all of these sort of lighter highlight parts in the background. They're not very, very light because I wanted this background to be pretty dark and ominous, but they definitely add a lot of color and intensity to this drawing, and yeah. Now, after finishing off the airbrushing part, I still felt like this needed a little something. So I actually decided to get some acrylic paint out and sort of dilute it a little bit so it was a little bit wet. And then I would use that sort of paintbrush technique where you tap it on another paintbrush to get some little spatters. Now these I'm actually using to paint off some little embery parts that's basically like, you know, those little embers that sort of float up when there's a fire. And yeah, I thought adding that would add a little bit of interesting depth to this illustration and just add a little bit more detail and kind of make it even more dramatic. So here is the final result of this illustration, and I have to say I'm so glad I finished off this drawing, especially since I was sitting on the sketch for ages, and I'm so glad I did that sort of paint splatter like technique with the embers, which I've never done before for embers, only stars really. I think it actually turns out really nice, and the background just makes him pop so much. So anyways, this video is starting to end, so I'm going to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe and watch some more videos on my channel if you want to support me, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone!